In June 2012, global news websites showed images of young men and women in his hometown running from gun-wielding policemen in Perspex Mines. He saw a picture of a young woman, blood seeping from under her hairline. When Jerome's student visa expired on the 6th of July 2012, he returned home.
Go home, dear good son.
When the plane touched down, it was 35 degrees outside.
Maybe it's too late.
The air blurred where it met the horizon.
When Jerome arrived in town, he took a small local bus to his parents' house. As the bus rattled along the stony road, his shirt stuck to his back and the backs of his legs stuck to the ripped plastic of the padded seat.
I returned to find my family home.
His family home had been burnt to the ground. He raked through the detritus and found the burnt rubber of his father's old flip-flops.
As he sat amongst the remains, the ashes blackening his shorts and the dust whipping around his elbows and through his hair, he pictured his father, slopping around the house wearing white sports socks and flip-flops. He could picture him opening the fridge, the soft glow lighting his face as he rummaged for curd cheese and pickles. That night, Jerome lay curled in the dust of his ex-home. He watched the stars overhead. The sky was much clearer without the tall grey buildings and North London smog. He wondered which bit of sky Lucille was standing under and whether she was wearing socks. He realised that in London he rarely looked up. He was always bent over his books, stainless steel sinks and chessboards. The next morning, he rose from the ashes. Jerome joined a political party, a party that called for the overthrow of the government, a government which disappeared people and spent public money on bullets and steel rather than on roads and vaccinations. Jerome understood why the government favoured bullets over vaccinations. He sometimes felt that a new government would be moulded by the same pressures and global forces that made bullets a more desirable purchase than vaccinations. In 2013, the group that Jerome was a member of staged an uprising in the main square. 40 men wearing the yellow armbands of their party linked arms around the statue of the first president and declared that the current government would be overthrown, that a new era of life, liberty and freedom from poverty and oppression was on the horizon. They distributed leaflets which outlined the demands of their party. A commitment to spending taxes on improving healthcare, safe roads, and no more unfair dismissals or disappearances.
The public library, currently the president's private library, would be open again. Taxes on farmers growing non-export crops would be slashed, allowing them to actually eat a percentage of their own crops and pay their workers a fair wage. People began to gather in the square. News had relayed to the crowd that the president had heard about their activity and he was furious. There was cheering. At 7:15, a group of people took control of the national radio station. Another group occupied the control centers for the main train and bus stations, preventing any movement in or out of the city. And a third faction, comprised mainly of students, sat in a tight cluster outside the government building, blocking anybody who tried to get in. One overwrought gentleman was so anxious to get to work that he tried to vault a high barbed fence. A large amount of flesh from his arm was torn away from the bone. After 4 hours of disruption, police arrived and opened fire on protesters. I think I can remember the faces of the police as they burst into the square. Maybe they were laughing. I can remember how they dragged the dead body of my friend around the square, his face covered with dust which stuck to the red blood. Maybe he wasn't quite dead. I was stood to the left of a friend as she was shot. Her blood like warm tea splattered the side of my face. She fell backwards against me, her dark eyes staring up at the sky. I could see the glittering stars reflected in her pupils. I laid her body under a tree, its branches like arms, sheltering her away from the hot smoke and the gunshots.